You're standing in line at a coffee shop, and the woman behind the counter makes eye contact just a little longer than necessary. She smiles, not the polite kind, the real kind. You didn't try, you didn't rehearse anything. You were just standing there, calm, unhurried, present, and she noticed. Later that day, a younger colleague at work asks for your take on a situation. Not because you're the loudest voice in the room, but because people have learned that when you speak, it's worth listening to. These aren't accidents, they're signals. And if you're a man over 50, they're happening more than you think. Most men your age don't realize what they've become. They're so busy worrying about getting older that they miss the quiet advantage they've earned. Today, we're breaking down 7 signs that you're an attractive older man, not the kind of attraction that fades with youth. The kind that builds with time, experience, and awareness. The kind that doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. If you want more insights into the hidden signals most people miss, subscribe to Mature Instincts. Let's begin. The first sign is how people respond to your silence. When you're younger, silence feels like a gap you need to fill. You talk to prove yourself, to establish presence, to avoid looking lost. But something changes as you age, especially if you've done the work of becoming comfortable in your own skin. Your silence becomes something different. It becomes weight. Watch what happens the next time you're in a group conversation and you choose not to speak right away. Notice how people glance at you, how they wait, how the energy shifts slightly, as if everyone's subconsciously aware that when you do speak, it'll matter. Women pick up on this immediately. A man who doesn't need to fill every silence is a man who's secure. He's not performing, he's not auditioning for approval, he's simply there. And that presence alone creates gravity. Younger men often mistake this for aloofness or disinterest, but women, especially women with experience, know the difference. They recognize that a man who's comfortable with silence is comfortable with himself, and that comfort is magnetic. It signals depth, patience, and control. The kind of control that doesn't need to announce itself. You've learned that not every moment requires a response. Not every question deserves an immediate answer. And that restraint, that ability to let a moment breathe before you engage, is one of the clearest signs that you've moved beyond the need for validation. People feel safer around you because of it. They trust you more. Because a man who doesn't rush to fill silence is a man who thinks before he speaks. And in a world where everyone's shouting, that's rare. The second sign is how women position themselves near you. This one's subtle and most men miss it entirely. It's not about what women say, it's about where they choose to be. You're at a work event, a social gathering, maybe just picking up groceries. And without any obvious reason, a woman ends up standing closer to you than she needs to. She lingers nearby when the conversation could have easily moved elsewhere. She finds reasons to be in your proximity, even when there's no clear purpose. This isn't coincidence, it's instinct. Women are constantly assessing safety, presence, and energy, often without conscious thought. When a woman feels drawn to your space, it's because something about you registers as calm, grounded, and trustworthy. She's not thinking about it, she's responding to it. Older men who carry themselves well create this effect naturally. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not broadcasting insecurity or hunger for attention. You're just steady. And that steadiness is deeply attractive, especially to women who've spent years around men who are still figuring themselves out. Pay attention to this, not to exploit it, but to recognize what it means. If women consistently choose to be near you, to stand a little closer, to stay in conversation a little longer, you're doing something right. You're projecting the kind of presence that people, especially women, want to be around. It's not about looks. It's about how you make people feel when they're in your space. Safe, calm, unhurried. That's the signal. And if you're noticing it, you've already crossed a threshold most men never reach. The third sign is how quickly people take your advice seriously. Think about the last time someone asked you for guidance. Maybe it was a friend going through a rough patch. Maybe a colleague navigating office politics. Maybe even a younger family member trying to figure out a relationship. Now think about how they responded. Did they nod politely and move on, or did they actually listen? Did they come back later and tell you that what you said stuck with them? If people don't just hear you, but actually absorb and act on what you say, that's not luck. That's authority, the quiet kind, the kind you don't demand. You've earned it through experience, mistakes, and the wisdom that only comes from living long enough to see patterns repeat. Women notice this too, especially in social or professional settings. When a man speaks and the room listens, it's a signal of value, not loud performative value, real value, the kind that's been tested and proven over time. Younger men can have charisma. They can be charming, funny, magnetic, but they rarely have this. They haven't lived enough to speak with the kind of weight that makes people pause and think, you have. And when you offer perspective, people feel it. They sense that you're not guessing. You're not trying to sound smart. You're simply sharing what you know because you've been there. This is one of the most underestimated forms of attraction. A man who speaks with earned authority is a man who commands respect without asking for it. And respect, especially from women who value depth and substance, is the foundation of real attraction. If people, especially women, seek out your opinion and treat it seriously, you've become someone they trust. And trust is everything. The fourth sign is how women respond to your touch. Not in a creepy or inappropriate way. We're talking about natural, respectful contact, a hand on the shoulder during a conversation, a light touch on the arm when making a point, the kind of physical interaction that happens in normal, respectful social exchanges. Watch what happens. Does she pull away even slightly? Or does she stay? Does she relax? Does she lean in just a little? If a woman doesn't flinch or create distance when you make casual, appropriate contact, that's a green light. It means she's comfortable with you. More than comfortable, she's receptive. This matters more than most men realize. Women are acutely aware of how men touch them, and they respond instinctively to whether that touch feels safe or threatening, confident or needy. A man over 50 who's comfortable in his own body, who doesn't grab or overstep but also doesn't hesitate to make natural contact, sends a powerful signal. It says you're confident, you're calibrated, you know the difference between respect and timidity. Women respond to this because it demonstrates social intelligence and self-control. You're not starved for touch. You're not clumsy or unsure. You're just naturally physical in a way that feels grounded and appropriate. And when a woman responds positively to that, when she doesn't pull away or create distance, it's one of the clearest nonverbal signals of attraction. She's telling you, without words, that your presence is welcome, that she feels safe, that she's open. Most men never learn to read this signal. But if you've lived long enough and paid attention, you already know what it means. The fifth sign is how women ask you questions about your past. Not in an interview kind of way, in a curious, almost protective way. She wants to know what you've done, where you've been, what shaped you. She's digging, but gently. She's trying to understand who you are beneath the surface. When a woman does this, it's because she's already interested. She's not just making small talk, she's investing attention. She's building a picture of you in her mind, and that picture matters to her. Older men have stories, real ones, not the exaggerated, performative kind younger men tell to impress people, but the kind that come from actually living. And women who are past the superficial phase of life, women who've learned to value substance over flash, are drawn to those stories. They want to know what you've survived, what you've learned, what made you who you are today. If you notice a woman asking these kinds of questions, asking about your work, your travels, your past relationships, your perspective on life, pay attention. She's not just being polite, she's qualifying you. She's trying to figure out if you're the kind of man worth her time. And the fact that she's asking means you've already passed the first test. She's intrigued. This is where your age works in your favor. You have depth. You have history. You don't need to invent a persona or sell yourself. You just share what's real. And if you do it with honesty and calm confidence, she'll keep asking. She'll keep digging because she's already decided you're worth knowing. And that decision, once made, is the foundation of attraction that actually lasts. The sixth sign is how women mirror your energy. This is one of the most reliable indicators of attraction, and most men never notice it. When a woman is drawn to you, she starts unconsciously matching your behavior. You lean back, she leans back. You slow your speech, she slows hers. You smile, she smiles. It's called mirroring, and it's one of the most primal signals of connection. She's not doing it on purpose. It's happening because her subconscious has decided you're someone she wants to sync with. Someone she feels aligned with, someone she's attracted to. For older men, this shows up in subtle ways. You're talking at a dinner, and she starts adopting your pace, your tone, even your gestures. You make a joke in a dry, understated way, and she starts joking the same way. You speak calmly and thoughtfully, and suddenly she's doing the same, even if she's normally more animated. This is her body telling you what her words might not. She's comfortable, she's engaged, she's drawn to you. The reason this works so well with mature men is that your energy is already calibrated. You're not erratic or performative, you're steady. And when a woman mirrors that steadiness, it's because she wants to match it. She wants to be in that space with you. If you start noticing this, don't call it out. Don't break the moment. Just recognize it for what it is. A sign that she's not just tolerating your presence, she's actively connecting with you. And that connection, that unconscious synchronization, is one of the deepest forms of attraction there is. The seventh sign is how women react when you leave. This might be the most telling one of all. You're at a party, a meeting, a casual gathering. You've been talking with a woman for a while, and then you excuse yourself. You don't make a big deal out of it. You just leave the conversation naturally. Watch what happens. Does she glance back at you? Does she find a reason to re-engage later? Does she seem slightly disappointed, even if she doesn't say it? If a woman feels your absence, that's a signal. It means you weren't just filling space. You were creating a feeling. And when you left, that feeling left with you. Most men don't understand this because they're too busy trying to hold attention. They overstay. They linger. They don't trust that their presence has value, so they keep pushing. But a man who knows his worth doesn't do that. He engages fully and then he moves on. And women notice when you leave at the right time, when you don't cling or force the interaction, you create a gap. And if she's attracted to you, she'll want to fill that gap. She'll look for you later. She'll bring up something you said. She'll find a reason to reconnect because you didn't just give her attention. You gave her a taste of something she wants more of. Your presence, your calm, your energy. And when she realizes it's gone, she'll miss it. This is the ultimate sign of attraction. Not what happens when you're there, but what happens when you're not. If women notice when you leave, if they track you across the room, if they make an effort to re-engage, you've done something most men never achieve. You've made yourself memorable. Not by trying harder, but by being present, then being willing to walk away. So let's bring it all together. If people respond to your silence with respect, if women position themselves near you without obvious reason, if your advice is taken seriously, if your touch is welcomed, if women ask about your past, if they mirror your energy, and if they notice when you leave, you're not just attractive, you're operating at a level most men never reach. And here's the thing, none of this is about technique. It's not something you fake or force. It's the natural result of becoming a man who's comfortable with himself, a man who doesn't need to prove anything, a man who's lived long enough to know what matters and what doesn't. That's what makes you attractive. Not your age, your maturity, not your effort, your ease. The world tells older men they're losing value, but the signals don't lie. And if you've been paying attention, you already know the truth. You're not losing anything. You're just becoming more of what women, especially the right kind of women, have been looking for all along. Here's my question for you. Have you noticed any of these signs in your own life? Have you caught women responding to you in ways that surprised you, ways you didn't expect? Drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear what you've experienced. And if this resonated with you, do me a favor, hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to Mature Instincts for more insights into the hidden signals most people miss. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.